Can a 5-year-old M1 MacBook with just 16 gigs of RAM run an LLM with a 1 million token context window? Stick around. We're going to find out. A single research paper from Google just erased billions of dollars from memory chip stocks in 24 hours. Samsung dropped nearly 5%. SK Hynix fell 6%. Investors panicked. And the wildest part, the paper doesn't even have official code. The internet just built it themselves. And I got it running on my MacBook. 1 million tokens of context. On a 5-year-old M1 MacBook. This is the story of TurboQuant, a compression algorithm so effective that the internet immediately started calling it Google's Pied Piper moment. And if you've seen Silicon Valley, you know exactly what that means. Alright, let me set the scene. Everyone talks about how GPUs are expensive, how you need an H100 cluster to run anything serious. But the actual bottleneck, it's not compute, it's memory. And specifically, it's something called the KV cache. Here's the thing, when an LLM generates text, every single token it produces depends on all the tokens that came before it. To avoid recalculating everything from scratch each time, the model stores its previous work in what's called a key value cache. Think of it like a student's notes during an open book exam. The problem? Those notes grow with every single token. A conversation with 100,000 tokens? Your KV cache alone can eat tens of gigabytes of GPU memory. That's not a side effect. That is the bottleneck for long context inference. And here's where it gets painful. Now look, a 4 billion parameter model with a million tokens of context makes for a cool demo. But realistically, you probably want a smarter model with 64K context. The thing is, we're living in the agentic era now. You don't run one model, you run 5. A coding agent, a research agent, a planning agent, a review agent, all running in parallel on your machine. And every single one needs its own KV cache. 5 agents times 64K context. That's the same memory explosion all over again. Your GPU is a nightclub and every agent just showed up with its own entourage. The obvious fix is compression, quantization, taking those big floating point numbers and cramming them into fewer bits. Instead of storing each value as a 16-bit float, you store it as 8 bits or 4 bits, half the memory. Sounds great. But here's the catch everyone hates. Quantization introduces error. And that error compounds through the attention mechanism. Compress too aggressively and your model starts hallucinating, losing coherence, forgetting context. It's like photocopying a photocopy. Each generation loses something. Before TurboQuant, the state of the art was KIVI, about 2.6x compression. Decent. Ships with hugging face. Then Nvidia dropped KVDC up to 20x compression, which sounds incredible until you learn it needs 200,000 tokens of calibration data on an H100. Per model. Every time. Everyone assumed this was just how it worked. Better compression meant either expensive calibration or accepting quality loss. Pick your poison. That was the deal. Until February 2026. What Google's team figured out is genuinely elegant. 2 stages, each solving a different piece of the puzzle. And what I love about this is that neither stage is brute force. It's all math. Pure, clean math. Let me walk you through it. Stage 1 is called PolarQuant. And to understand it, imagine you have a room full of arrows, vectors, all pointing in random directions. Some are long, some are short. You need to store all of them, but you're running out of shelf space. The old approach was to grab small bundles of arrows, measure the longest one in each bundle, then scale everything relative to that. Store the scale factor separately. It worked, but those scale factors added up. Extra memory just to track your bookkeeping. PolarQuant does something different. First, it scrambles all the vectors using a Walsh-Hadamard transform, a mathematical blender that spreads information evenly across every coordinate. After this rotation, something beautiful happens. The vectors become statistically predictable. Their coordinates follow a known distribution, a beta distribution. And once you know the shape of your data, you can design the perfect quantizer for it. No per block normalization needed. Then comes the polar coordinates trick. Instead of storing each vector as XYZ coordinates, PolarQuant separates the magnitude, how long the arrow is, from the direction where it points. The magnitude gets stored precisely. The direction, which is now on a predictable distribution, gets quantized aggressively. That's stage 1, beautiful on its own. But there's still a problem, and this is where it gets really clever. Quantization, even good quantization, introduces a tiny systematic bias. When you round numbers, the rounding errors don't cancel out. They accumulate in one direction. It's like a scale that's always off by 2 grams. Each measurement is close, but they're all wrong in the same way. Stage 2 fixes this with something called QJL. Quantized Johnson-Lindenstrauss error correction. It takes the quantization error from stage 1, projects it into a lower dimensional space, and reduces each value to a single bit. 1 bit, just a sign, positive or negative. And that 1 bit correction makes the entire estimator unbiased. 2 stages. First, you rotate and compress intelligently. Then you correct the bias with a single bit per value. The result, 3.5 bits per value. 6x compression. And mathematically, 0 accuracy loss. And the paper proves something remarkable. They calculated the absolute theoretical limit, the best any algorithm could possibly achieve, and showed TurboQuant sits within a factor of 2.7 of that limit. This isn't just good engineering, it's approaching the boundary of what math says is possible.
I mean, 24 gigs, that's less than a fourth the file size. That seems dubious, Richard.
When the paper dropped, two things happened simultaneously. Wall Street panicked, and the open source community went absolutely feral. Let's talk about the panic first. Within 24 hours, Samsung lost 4.8%. SK Hynix dropped 6.23%. Micron fell 3.4%. Billions in market cap, gone. The logic was simple and brutal. If AI needs 6 times less memory, we need 6 times fewer memory chips. But here's where it gets interesting. Morgan Stanley pushed back hard with the century-old economic idea, the Jevons paradox. In 1865, economist William Stanley Jevons noticed something counterintuitive. When steam engines became more efficient, coal consumption didn't drop, it exploded. Because cheaper energy unlocked entirely new industries that weren't viable before. Morgan Stanley argued the same thing will happen here. Cheaper inference doesn't mean less hardware. It means every company that couldn't afford AI before suddenly can. Total demand goes up, not down. Most analysts said buy the dip. And honestly, history is on their side. Every efficiency breakthrough in computing has led to more computing, not less. Here's maybe my favorite part of this whole story. Google published the paper with no official implementation. No GitHub repo, no reference code, just math. And the open source community said, okay, we'll do it ourselves. Within hours, working implementations existed. Community devs achieved 99.5% attention fidelity. Someone tested it on Gemma 3.4b, running on an RTX 4090 character. Character identical output to the uncompressed model. Not similar, identical. And my personal favorite detail, someone used GPT-5.4 to implement TurboQuant in Apple's MLX framework in 25 minutes. We've reached the point where AI is building the tools that make AI more efficient. If that doesn't make you feel something, I don't know what will. A VLLM feature request was filed almost immediately, issue 38071. The community isn't waiting for Google. They're integrating this into production inference stacks right now. Okay, the paper is impressive. The community implementations look great. The benchmarks are promising. But I wanted to know one thing. Does this actually work on real hardware? Not a data center, not an H100, my MacBook, M1 chip, 16 gigs of RAM, 5 years old. So I pulled the llama.cpp community branch, built it and started pushing. First test. Qwen 3.5, 9 billion parameters, quantized to 4-bit, 128,000 tokens of context. I ran it twice. Once with standard F16 KV cache, once with Turbo 3. Watch what happens. Well, that took almost 4 gigs of VRAM just for the context. Now let's see how TurboQuant does. (4,050 megabytes versus 925, a 4.4x reduction. On a 16 gig machine, that's 3.1 gigabytes freed. That's the difference between your laptop gasping for air and having room to breathe. Okay, nice, solid optimization, but that's the boring test. Let me show you where it gets interesting. I am switching to a smaller 4B model to free up GPU space and doubling the context. 256,000 tokens, dead. Out of memory. The KB cache alone would need about 8 gigabytes, plus 2.5 for the model. That's 10.5 gigs before you even allocate compute buffers. On a machine with 11 gigs of GPU addressable memory, there's just nowhere to go. Now, watch Turbo 3 with the exact same context size. 1.8 gigs for the KV cache, 5.7 gigs free. The impossible just became possible. Same machine, smaller model, same context. The only difference, Turbo 3. This is where TurboQuant stops being a nice optimization and starts being a fundamentally different capability. FR6 cannot do this, period. Turbo 3 does it with room to spare, but I wasn't done pushing. 768,000 tokens, 750,000 on a 5-year-old M1 MacBook. Let's see. The KV cache takes 5.3 gigs, 754 megabytes free. The machine is sweating. But look at the generation speed, 10.4 tokens per second. Prompt processing at 158 tokens per second, totally usable. And the F16 version would need about 24 gigabytes just for the KV cache, more than the entire system memory. At this point, I was thinking, how far can we actually push this? There was a problem. At the default settings, macOS caps GPU memory at about 75% of your total RAM, 11.2 gigs out of 16. That's a hard wall. 768K barely squeezed through. A million tokens? No chance. But there's a trick. One command. That one command raises the GPU memory ceiling from 11.4 to 13.4 gigs. No system integrity bypass needed. Resets when you reboot. Completely safe. And that extra 2 gigs of headroom? That is exactly what 1 million tokens needs. 1 million tokens of context on a 5-year-old M1 MacBook with 16 gigs of RAM, 363 megabytes free. The machine is on live support, but it's generating 11.2 tokens per second. That's usable. That's not a benchmark curiosity. You could actually work with this. For perspective, the F6 KV cache at 1 million tokens would need about 32 gigabytes. That's twice the total RAM in this machine. TurboQuant compressed it to 6.9 gigs. The compression doing the heavy lifting. The syscale trick doing the last mile unlock. Now look, nobody's running a 4 billion parameter model with a million tokens of actual context. That's not the point. The point is what that memory headroom unlocks. Imagine 30 agents, each with 32K context, all running on a single 5-year-old M1 MacBook. A month ago that sounded absurd. Now it's just Tuesday. Let's zoom out for a second. Because I think TurboQuant is part of a bigger shift happening right now. For years, the AI playbook was simple. Want better performance? Bigger model, more GPUs, more memory, more power, just more. DeepSeek challenged that for training, showing you could compete with frontier labs at a fraction of the cost. TurboQuant does the same thing for inference. We might be witnessing the transition from the scaling era to the efficiency era. Not because scaling doesn't work, but because the math got smarter. And when the math gets smarter, everything downstream changes. Who can run these models? What hardware they need? What applications become viable? There are limitations, to be clear. TurboQuant compresses the KV cache, not model weights. You still need to fit the model itself in memory. Below 3 bits, things get unstable. And we're approaching the theoretical limit, so don't expect another 6x jump anytime soon. But here's what stays with me. A research paper dropped with nothing but math. No code, no SDK, no developer relations campaign. Just ideas on a page. And within hours, the open source community had working implementations, production integrations, and character identical results. That's not just a compression breakthrough. That's a statement about where the real power in AI lives right now. Not in who publishes the paper, but in who builds with it. A paper with no code erased billions from the stock market and the internet, rebuilt it before the markets even closed. I tested it on a 5-year-old M1 MacBook and it held 1 million tokens without breaking a sweat. If that's not a Pied Piper moment, I don't know what is. Here's what I keep thinking about though. If a 5-year-old M1 MacBook can hold a million tokens of context locally, do we even need the cloud for most AI workloads anymore? Like, seriously, at what point does local inference become good enough that paying per token to an API starts looking like a bad deal? I want to hear your take. Drop it in the comments. If you're running local inference and want to try TurboQuant, I've linked the community implementations and the syst command in the description. And if you want to understand how the KV cache actually works under the hood, I covered that in a previous video, links up here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.